Good early morning, everyone. I'm here with Psychic Liz Cross. How you doing today?
It is super duper early. It's the only time I can get stuff done. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm also happy to be here. And yeah, so we're gonna do a probe on fermented foods today, which should be good. And we're gonna call in our resident health expert, Maywen Ho. Glad to have her here with us as usual.
Mhm.
And yeah, we're going to look into fermented foods. So, actually, a little bit, we're going to look into the benefits and also possibly the dark side of fermented
Ooh.
foods. Yeah. So, I want to find out because several of the people that I studied under are not fans of certain types of fermented foods and then having them too often. And so I wanted to figure out if there's truth to that because there's a lot of people that are fermented food kind of like evangelists and they just have it all the time every day and they're drinking kombucha like it's water. And I want to find out if that's, if there's a limit to its benefits and can we go over the line, one kombucha over the line, if you will. So,
Uh-oh. I,
uh-oh.
I drink a lot of kombucha.
Well,
I
we're
love
gonna find out.
kombucha. I love it. I can't, it's almost like I'm addicted to it. I
Well,
can't
that's what we're
have
gonna find
more.
out.
Yeah, I can't have more than two a day.
Right.
But I definitely feel it if I don't have kombucha.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna find out. So, for those that don't know, fermented foods, how it works is basically you start off with a starter. So I have some starters up here, and they have these starters contain basically the perfect mixture of like microorganisms to start the specific chemical reaction to create these microorganisms, the offshoots of the microorganisms that are healthy for our gut. Now, what they're known as like helping our gut bacteria, and then that helps our immune system. They can be anti-cancer. There's a whole bunch of benefits that go along with them. However, one of the byproducts of these organisms is a certain type of alcohol and a certain type of vinegar called acetic acid and something called aldehydes. So aldehydes, acetaldehyde specifically, for instance, would be involved in the feeling you have is when you get a hangover. So it's not good. So they are toxins. However, our body has a natural ability to kind of transform them into things that are useful for our energy production in our body. So for those that studied chemistry, and this is way too early for me to be thinking about chemistry, I think, but we have a citric acid cycle, and this is part of our energy production for our entire body, and that drives cellular energy. So all the energy from our body, right, is in this process. And some of these byproducts that are like alcohols, aldehydes, acetaldehydes, they're involved in that process. So they are like beneficial, but just like anything, when we get too much of them, they can become toxic. A lot of the things in our body that our body uses for energy can also be toxic if we have too much of them. Even oxygen, actually. Anyways, I don't want to go off on a huge rant on that, but I want to find out if some of these compounds that are made by the microorganisms in our food, our foods like kombucha and kimchi, are they causing problems at the same time, even though they can be beneficial? So let's ask Mei Wen Ho specifically about kimchi,
Mhm.
kombucha, and what was the other one that they were?
Sauerkraut,
I can't
that's
remember.
fermented.
Yes, it is, but there's specific ones that were outlined as maybe being problematic. I'm trying to figure out
Oh,
what it was here. I had this up earlier. So let's just ask about kombucha first.
okay.
Does Mei Wen Ho think that um, The acetaldehyde content of kombucha is dangerous to our liver.
Oh man, come on. Now what? Okay. Is You're gonna make me paranoid now.
Well, we're gonna find out. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this to find out if it, you know.
Okay, so is the what is the question?
Okay, so is the acetaldehyde content of kombucha dangerous to our liver?
Kombucha dangerous to our liver. If you have too much,
Right.
yes. Oh,
Okay. And that's kind of what I was taught as well. And specifically, I learned that I don't know if it's true. Obviously, this is what I read that if you have too much of it, like someone that's drinking it maybe even every day for long periods of time, it can throw off the energy metabolism of your body. So is that true?
if you drink or eat this every day, will it throw off the energy production of the body? No, it's good for you in small doses, thank God.
Yes, and that's what I thought as well. So, okay, so you can have it every day in small doses. Is that what she's saying?
You have it every day. Yes, yes, you
And
can.
so let's quantify that a bit. So would a small portion be like an ounce a day? Or
No, up to
okay.
5 or 6 ounces.
Okay, so that's quite a bit actually. More than I
Um, okay.
so that's like a
Stand by. Hang on. I've got a kombucha bottle. Listen, I've got a whole collection here.
okay. Well, maybe
Yes.
we can probe some of your kombucha collection. And I have some too, I think, in the fridge. I'm not sure.
Okay, this is 16 fluid ounces. All
Okay.
right. So let's ask this question. Is this too much? 16 fluid ounces? No, but she says you have to drink it slowly.
Okay. Over the course of a day, she's saying slowly, or over the course of multiple days.
What about 16 fluid ounces in an hour? She thinks I should stretch that out a bit more. Darn it.
Yeah. Over the
Okay,
course of a day, she's saying.
over the course of a day, 3 hours.
Okay. All right. The other thing that would be of concern with the kombucha would obviously be its sugar content. So it has a lot of glucose in it. Now, it's there's the I believe the whatever bacteria is in there is eating the sugar. That's what it's using for its substrate. But that's so there's a natural component of sugar in kombucha when you make it. However, I know if you buy like commercial kombucha, sometimes they're adding a lot of sugar in there extra. So let's ask about like homemade kombucha where you're not really adding an excessive amount. Are people being addicted to that level of glucose?
It can be addictive, yes.
And then the commercial stuff, which I'm sure has way more sugar in it, some of the bigger brands. Is that a big issue for people?
If it has a lot. So, like for my one here, okay, it's total sugars for 16 ounces, 12 grams. Three of those were added sugar.
Okay.
So 12 was what? Natural, yes. And three is added, yes. Is that too much sugar? It can be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's so like you said yourself, you almost feel addicted to it in a way. Can we ask Maywin Ho, what is that feeling that people would categorize as addictive? Is that from the sugar or is that something else?
Is that from the sugar? She says no. It's from, it makes your gut feel good.
Ah, okay. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah.
Um, Now I've got a few questions because I worked on cancer research for many years. And one of the things that we work on or we focused in on was colon cancer.
Right.
According to our research, people that, and this is not official advice, people that, ate kimchi or engaged with kefir or, kombucha, had those on a daily basis with and they minimize their sugar. Now, I'm not saying there's sugar in the drink itself or in the food itself, but overall,
Oh yeah,
they
within their whole
minimize,
diet, you're saying.
yes, they minimize their sugar. They had less polyps in their colons than, average people. Now, so let's ask May Wen Ho, is this, intake of fermented food, moderate intake, not overload, not overdose, but moderate intake of fermented food, is it a cancer preventative? Absolutely. Okay. And we, with minimal sugar in the diet, is that still, is that what makes it so effective? It is. What if there was sugar in the diet? See, she just said to me, if there's sugar in the diet and you're doing this, you're drinking this for health or eating this for health, right? Sugar minimizes the effects of the kombucha, of the fermented food.
Right. That makes sense. So yeah, it's the sugar content and it's okay as long as you're not, mainlining sugar elsewhere in your diet, which then it would just be contributing to that problem on that side.
Oh, but sugar is so difficult, especially when you have children. You know,
Right.
every birthday party, every kids event, what do? They serve junk and they serve sugar, right?
Yeah.
It really makes me so annoyed. It's like, well, can't you serve like healthy food? Okay, I know it's a birthday party, but some of these kids, we have birthday parties sometimes every freaking weekend, right?
Oh yeah, right.
And it's like, well, do we have to eat cake every weekend? I actually now, and parents should not be afraid to do this, I actually now bring our own food.
Yeah.
We do that now. And because I'm a seasoned parent with a young child, I see all the new mothers I've been there, done that, right? The new moms, they like, oh, well, they worry about being polite and eating the triple decker cakes with all the icing and all that. Oh, and I just show up with my own food and they're all looking at me and I'm like, oh, plus we are gluten free anyway. We have a gluten allergy, but I'm like, hey, we just bring our own food. And they're like, wow, that's really smart because you don't want your kids filled up on all this sugar. It's
Yeah.
just too much.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. And it's not like, I mean, you might be fearful of doing that, but honestly, when you actually do it, like you said, like people are pretty understanding. I mean, the idea that kids have these, I mean, the peanut allergy stuff. I mean, it's not like out of this world if you bring up that my kid has an allergy to something, right? You can just use that as your whatever you want to make up. I think people are pretty understanding.
They
Especially
are. They
yeah,
are.
especially they think their food might, kill your child or something like
Right, right. But it really is too much. Like, and it's always a pizza party and it's always cake and ice cream, right? Pizza, cake, and ice cream. And it's just like we take our own pizza that we make at home, and then we take our own gluten-free little cupcake, right? We usually turn down the ice cream, we take our bottles of water. It's too much. But
yeah,
these kids, every event is sugar, 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 sugar. It's really difficult to cut the sugar out of a child's diet because it's just so in their face. And of course, the excuse is always, well, they're young, that they'll burn it off. It's okay when you're young. It's not okay. It really isn't.
right.
So let's
Okay,
ask May Wenho this. Sorry, I'm hijacking your thing.
sure.
Um, is sugar a big cause of colon cancer? It is the cause. It is the cause, she just said, in young people. It's the amount of sugar.
Wow.
if young people were to drink kombucha, because my kids do, if young people were to drink kombucha, does that help them? Not necessarily.
Yeah,
It's
because
sugar
if you have
intake.
sugar in the diet already, like we said, then that's not gonna help.
Oh dear.
Um, okay. I also want to ask about the acetic acid content in some of these probiotics, like kombucha, like pickles, like kimchi and sauerkraut. Acetic acid, is that a problem if eaten too much?
Acetic acid, is it a problem if eaten too much? Not in the quantities that are presented in each portion.
Okay.
No,
Okay. So you can eat it every day.
you can as long as it's proportionate. So
Okay.
what do you mean by acidic acid?
Acetic acid is essentially like a vinegar, I
Yeah.
guess, or like something equivalent to that. And so I guess the microorganisms make this, and I guess if your own body can't convert it for whatever reason, then I read that there could be a link between like, IBS or pre-diabetes or like fatty liver disease. But I don't know if that's true or not, right? A lot of these studies are done in animals and not in humans, so that's a whole nother can of worms. So it sounds like it's there. It's pretty good. I mean, we've been eating kimchi and sauerkraut for thousands of years. Like, so I think I don't know about the history of kombucha, to be honest, and how long we've been drinking that. I don't know if that's a new fangled thing or not, but I definitely know that for other fermented foods have been around forever. So
Mm.
it
But you have,
sounds it sounds
sorry,
like it
you,
sounds like it's like maybe some of these things like kombucha in combination with all of the horrible stuff that we're eating now, that can be a problem, but not on their own.
so let's ask her. Kombucha with the acidic acid. It's fine as long as see they know what they're doing. So they're managing the quantities of that, right? Because she's saying sometimes these things can turn into alcohol and they have to make sure
Yes.
that it doesn't.
So that's a good point as well. There are some people that will get drunk off of kombucha. And I think what's happening there, and I'm not like a complete expert on this, obviously, but so when we drink alcohol, we have to convert these aldehydes and different compounds. And if we don't convert them efficiently enough, you get drunk quicker, or you just can't metabolize that alcohol very quickly. And that's what happens. So actually, there's a portion of the Asian community that lacks an enzyme to actually efficiently break down certain alcohols. And this is also, I think, a thing with native peoples in the North Americas as well. Some peoples lack that enzyme, so they get drunk a lot quicker, or the effects are much more apparent to them. And I think this might be something similar that's happening with some people that have that with kombucha, is for whatever reason, whether it's genetic or they have a problem with their enzymes in their body personally, that they're getting drunk off the kombucha. I've actually even heard of people getting pulled over after drinking kombucha, and they're actually blowing quite high, and like levels where they're going to go to jail. So
Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh dear.
yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, so I don't know how I would ask a question around that. Are there people that shouldn't drink kombucha because their enzymes aren't functioning correctly, or maybe they have a genetic disposition?
Are there people that shouldn't drink kombucha because of their enzymes? Yes, absolutely. If they cannot handle alcohol and the not having those enzymes actually makes them quite allergic to alcohol.
Right. Yeah, so if you're one
Um,
of those people, you should probably avoid alcohol and probably kombucha altogether, because your body's giving you that signal, hey, I'm being, you know, toxins are being produced in my body, so stop.
wow, wow. That was really interesting. I have a friend from Hong Kong. We always wondered why she couldn't hold her alcohol. Now we know why.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, I think we've covered some of the dark side of this. I'd like to get into now all of the benefits and what are the best ones to eat and for what. But we're going to do that in part 2 of this video. So if you would like to see all of the videos that we do, including this next one, how do they become members with us, Liz?
They go to patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond. Just remember, if you're not a Patreon subscriber, you are not seeing all the videos. Probably around 20 to 30 videos per month that you are not seeing.
And we do appreciate, we want to send a shout out to everybody that is a subscriber and everyone that does support us, through my tip jar, through consults, through tipping, all the other, everything that you do to support us. We really appreciate that. And we could not do that without that support. Especially myself, I volunteer pretty much most of my time, extra time here to do research and do these extra probes at ungodly hours of the early morning. So
I know, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I am a morning person anyways, but I'm getting up before the morning sometimes.
Yeah, today is one of those days. So don't forget, Mr. Photon does have a tip jar down below. And hopefully we'll see you on the flip side, which is on the Patreon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.